Generally, when we talk about DMC, we talk about the likelihood of, for example, African American kids getting arrested as compared to white kids.
And it's an issue that is much discussed with very little actually done about it.
It's clear that there are socioeconomic issues around DMC.
To date, we know that there's a disproportionate number of Latino and African American youth that are impacted by poverty, by dropping out of school at a very early age without finishing high school. And we also know that they're overrepresented in the jails and in the juvenile justice system.
And of course, we know that failure in school is got a direct relationship to getting in trouble with the law. And all you need to do is walk in to juvenile hall and look around. And it doesn't take an expert to figure out that the African American young people are overly represented.
DMC is just not about the disparity in the juvenile justice system. It's about everyday disparities.
It stems from racist ideas.
And it's creating a stronger divide between the communities and the entities that are supposed to provide help. County, city, state, government, including enforcement. So if we don't take a closer look and get a hold on it now, oftentimes these things, the train leaves the station, it's much harder to stop it.
And then, of course, the issue is, what do they do about it?
Programs to address DMC are mandated for agencies or departments that receive federal funding.
The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, otherwise known as OJJDP, has responsibility for addressing the needs of youth who are at risk or who may be involved in the juvenile justice system.
Alameda County Probation Department's DMC Oversight Committee, made up of partnerships like Social Services, Alameda County Office of Education, Behavioral Health Care, the police, of course probation staff. The goal is to continue to identify DMC issues on a day-to-day basis and talk about strategies to reduce DMC.
The National Council on Crime and Delinquency is a research and policy organization, and with Alameda County's Probation Department's DMC project, we provide consultation with regard to data analysis, training of internal trainers as well as the probation staff. We provide technical assistance, and overall are a sounding board for the Probation Department as they implement their DMC project. The statistical data that we've reviewed for Alameda County consistently shows a number of patterns. For example, you see that African American kids are arrested at least 7 times the rate of white kids. When we look at other groups like the Latinos, you see that they have 2 to 3 times the likelihood of white kids. And so when we look at bookings into juvenile hall, that is where you see a huge difference. So it's very clear that there is a likelihood of kids of color to be arrested, to be booked into juvenile hall, to be taken out of the home.
Why is it that the majority of youth that are in juvenile hall at any given time are African American or Hispanic youth, or just in general youth of color?
Institutions like probation, social services, even a health agency have instituted policies and practices that ensures that people of color are overrepresented in some areas and underrepresented in others.
I don't have to say it, you don't have to say it, no one person has to say it. The statistics speak clearly that this needs to be looked at.
I think it's sad that we have population groups as a whole being lost in our system and not having the ability to live to their full potential.
There's been a lot of analysis and any number of recommendations. However, it takes a holistic approach to really deal with the issues that we're facing when we're looking at disproportionate representation of youth of color.
The Alameda County Social Services Agency is the largest agency in the county. We know we can change disproportionality by changing the way we do business. As an example, in the Child Protective Services Department, we have changed one procedure. When we do an intake, we take in all the facts, the conditions, the report, what's happening with that child. Is the child safe? Is there an issue for us to step in immediately, do an evaluation? Then we leave the ethnicity of the person way to the end because that is not a pertinent fact. Once again, this is a very small change, but it takes everybody making those small changes to really eradicate disproportionality.
And disproportionality is something that exists in a number of different areas. For example, in schools, you find that kids of color, again, are disproportionately overrepresented in the suspensions and expulsions. And this is one of the difficulties.
When you think about DMC, are we tracking young children of color into dead-end curriculum? What are we doing to raise the bar? And in fact, here in Alameda County, the superintendents at this point have been studying for the last 2.5 years the issue of race and its impact on achievement gap and how to take a look at what's happening for kids of color.
The Measure Y team is a bridge between law enforcement, including probation, and the community.
Through Measure Y, we're blessed to have a strong collaboration. Give you a good example: when a youth leaves the Juvenile Justice Center, they're hooked up right then back into the school system, a mental health assessment, a school assessment. They're handed a case manager. They all work together with probation, the police department, and the Alameda County Behavioral Health Care. So that youth leaves the system now with a whole array of services marching back, and that taps us into the family system where a case manager can say, wow, here's a hole in the net. Here's another hole in the net. The youth doesn't want to go to school. Why? The probation officer locked him up for not going to school. But why? Oh, this kid is from another neighborhood, and that neighborhood might not be welcomed at this school. Things that have not been recognized by the enforcement system for quite a while. And so we're able now to get deeper into that system and then help others involved take a closer look as to what's happening.
The Measure Y team epitomizes what we're trying to do with DMC because we're asking that people take a closer look. And you take a closer look by building relationships.
And so we are entrusted as advocates, as it were. Many of us have been there and done that. That's not the only qualifying matter, but the fact is that we have a firm stand in the community. We have street credibility. We also have credibility with the enforcement community to say pieces like this and information about it will help people to understand that it is existing and ways to do something about it.
I know Alameda County is a model. We're a model because we talk to each other. Among the different organizations, the different entities, whether it's the Office of Education, Probation Department, Healthcare, Social Services, we not only talk to each other at the program level, we constantly dialogue with each other at the administrative policy level.
And so it does take a village, and it does take caring adults and the resources of numerous professionals working together. That remains some of our biggest challenges.
I think it's our responsibility to do what we can to make sure at the probation department and all the human services departments and agencies that they take a closer look and they do what it takes to serve the youth that need to be served in those agencies.